Hello.
It is so good to have you back here in the UK. You know, you kind of started something. I forget the first time you came and you played at the Shepherd's Bush Empire, and you'd had success on the radio and this new audience that we didn't realize was out there, young people, you know, and you. It's amazing to think of that. It was a relatively small little venue, but it kicked off something, and lots of other acts came. C2C started. We've now got so many acts touring here now. This is the biggest one we've had, and you can take a lot of the credit. So well done.
No, I don't know about that.
I think.
Thank you for saying that. I mean, that's extremely humbling, and we just feel like we're following in the footsteps of a lot of other country artists who have gone before us and paved the way. And it was just so important for us as a band to get over here as quickly as possible, and it was really encouraged by our management and our label, and we had so much support from our label here that it's just been such a beautiful relationship that we feel like we've been able to build.
But I think you always did. In 2007, the CMA had an international event in a tiny little place in Hillsborough Village, and there was you and Chris Young and somebody else. So you were obviously thinking then.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they're not just from the UK, from all over the place, and they'll tell you who they are. We'll start with lady there.
Hi, I'm from Nashville. All the music that you have out now, you obviously have bands providing songs that you play live, but what do you miss to play live from previous albums, whether it's hits or...
Oh, man.
You don't get to play them?
We've tweaked our album, our set list over here specifically because, even from the first show at Shepherd's Bush, we found that the fans are so invested. They're not passive fans. They're very active. They know all the songs off the record. I think that was one of the most refreshing things when we came over here in the beginning was we would play, at that time we didn't have a tremendous amount of hits yet, and it didn't matter. They were singing all the album tracks. So we actually try to dig in and pull up some songs that we haven't done in a long time. We're doing When You Got a Good Thing off our second record. We haven't done Hello World a lot in the States in a while, and we started pulling that back out. But it is. I think you definitely can. It's we say it all the time. It's a very, musically artistic listener over here, which we appreciate that.
I think people go deep here.
They really do.
Like
they really do.
There's radio singles and things like
Yep.
that.
Yeah, we were talking about putting the set list together, and we feel like when we come here, we have the freedom to take those chances and play those songs from previous records. We're actually trying out a couple new songs.
I was about to say, we're doing
tonight,
some new
too,
ones.
So it's fun for us. We've just cut 6 songs in the studio back in Nashville, and we said, well, we're coming over here, and this is the audience that normally soaks that up. So, thank you to you guys and the fans for giving us that freedom. It allows us as an artist to do what we love to do, which is dig deep and go on a journey during
Would
the
you
show.
like some water? Because I can get you a glass.
No, this is great.
What
She
he
just
always
knows I
made me
usually don't like sparkling.
Yeah, I was like, it's sparkling water, and he's going to be surprised.
Next question.
Hi, Kira from Kira's Country here. Such a pleasure to be talking to you. I'm sure at this point you must have had hundreds of press conferences and interviews. So my question is, what is one question that you've never been asked in an interview but would love to be?
Ooh, that question alone. That's a really good question.
Gosh, how do you answer that? I don't know.
Yeah, we may be stumped.
What?
I don't know. It's always what's your favorite band, so maybe what's your least favorite band? I don't know what that
So
is.
what's the thing that nobody knows about you three?
Oh, gosh. Dave,
Oh,
what do we not know about you?
That's a
You've
question
got-
you haven't been asked before.
I know. I feel like everything we've
I know in this
eventually gotten to.
social media world, we share everything.
I feel like this might be on Wikipedia already, but I'd love for everyone to know what your first real job was out of college.
Yeah, I was an accountant. So I'm not super proud of that one, but it was fun.
I'm not very proud. I'm 6'6" and I can't dunk a basketball. Everybody asks me every day. I'm like going through the airport. I don't even think they stop me to say hey because I'm that guy in Lady Antebellum. They stop me because they're like, "You're so tall. Are you a famous basketball player?" I'm like, "No, I can't jump."
I was, I'll say American football manager in high school, all 4 years. I was a water girl. Not a lot of people know that. Yeah.
Great, next one.
Welcome back to London.
Thank you.
You did a Radiohead song at Shepherd's Bush Empire, did you know?
We did.
What
I'm
was
sorry.
At Shepherd's Bush Empire, I think you did Radiohead.
Oh yeah, the Radiohead.
Yes.
What do we do?
Yes,
High and dry?
We did High and Dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave me high.
My
Oh my
question
gosh.
is this: could you tell us about the school you were going to play at and the tornado that took the school out? I think you helped put it back together again.
Oh, when there was the that tornado
Yes,
in Henryville.
in Henryville.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We raised some
Well,
money for.
So we found out because there were these really bad tornadoes, and I think we all grew up in an area of the country in the States that are known for severe weather, but I specifically lived through a tornado that hit in 1998 in Nashville. That was really, it did a lot of damage in my neighborhood. And so it's something that I think, we're always looking for ways with our platform to give back, and we saw that this really terrible tornado ripped through this town and destroyed the high school. And it was going to mean that they were not going to be able to have their prom in their gymnasium and their big, end of year celebration and dance. And so we decided to come play a show there in the arena closest to that town and throw them a prom. Mm-hmm. So they all got dressed up in their beautiful dresses and tuxedos and suits, and we had a DJ, and I think we showed up and sang a couple songs, and really just wanted them to not be able to not have that memory made for them, which is such a part of high school. So thank you for asking that.
Okay, hi guys.
Hi.
David from Tone Focus. I just wanted to ask, on the last album, Heartbreak, it felt like you were really exploring your sound, pushing yourself in directions we've not heard before, particularly with songs like You Look Good. With the new material, can we expect some more surprises and some more boundary pushing?
Honestly, I can safely say we're probably getting back to a lot more of the sound of the first record, to be honest with you. I think that's just a natural thing. It kind of tugs and pushes, where you're wanting to explore different things. And that record specifically, once we started recording songs like Heartbreak and You Look Good, it kind of made us even want to explore some other sounds in that record. And with this, it just happens to be the type of material that we've been writing does tend to be so far a little deeper. And, we've been going through so many changes, I guess, with us and our families growing, and even as a band. And I know specifically myself, I've been really getting back in touch with my spirituality, which was kind of being pushed to the side for a while. And so there's some songs even about that, kind of my search and journey. And so it's definitely probably a little deeper and a little warmer than the last record.
Pushing lyrical boundaries.
Yeah,
I
trying to be more honest.
and vulnerable. Yeah.
Do you think you might let out a single or two first before you do a whole album?
We're gonna probably let out a single while we finish up the record for sure. But we're gonna try out some stuff tonight on you guys, and if the reaction's bad, maybe we'll can it.
Hi, I'm Maddie from Wizard Radio. Happy belated International Women's Day.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you for being such an incredible inspiration, Hillary, for so many women
Thank
in the industry and for lots of new artists that are coming. What's it like to be such an icon for so many young women?
Well, that's extremely humbling. Thank you. I have to say, before I was a mom, I have a 18-year-old sister. She's here with me on this trip. We're 14 years apart, and so I tried to really conduct myself in such a way and live my life in a way that would make her proud. And now that's amplified times 3 with daughters at home. But I think, I've been so blessed with great women in my life that have inspired me, that have taught me, my mom being the main one, of just, if I can walk and exude half of the amount of kindness that just comes from her on just a daily basis, I know I'm doing something right. So I try to really learn from others, and I think that's the best thing we can do as women, is just support each other, learn from each other, and be mindful of one another.
Next one.
Hey guys, Dan from Your Life in Song. You made the move to Big Machine recently, so tell us about that whole transition of moving labels, and also please tell me the hello roll to the sellers.
It is in the set list
It
tonight,
is.
yeah. You can talk on that.
Yeah, I mean, we were at a point where we had worked early on in our career with a guy named Jimmy Harnan back in the early days at Capitol, and it was a bit of a reunion for that reason. We were kind of out there searching for, a home that will continue to push us. For us, I think internally what we do remains the same as far as the way we write and the way we record and make our music, but I'm excited. It kind of feels like a fresh new start for us. Like we have freedom here to play a lot of stuff. We've gotten a lot of freedom from the label too to just write what you want to write, cut what you want to cut. And so we're really thrilled to be with Big Machine, and they've been super supportive.
I think anytime you get a fresh energy and perspective too on, we kind of sat down and was like, well, what are your impressions of us and maybe where we, have gone wrong or what we could do better. And, because we've always just tried to focus on the music, like Dave said. And they were really just supportive and encouraging for us to really get in there, take our time, and maybe be a little bit more honest with this music. And it kind of felt refreshing to hear that, and not be scared, because I do think there is, if you're honest as an artist, after early success like that, there does tend to sneak in a little bit of this fear of losing it and it letting go, and you start to lose a little bit of what you got into it for. And I can say this is probably the most confident the past 3 years, 2-3 years, this year specifically, that we've been as a band in a long time. And I think it just comes from being settled in your life and knowing that, if you fail, it's not the end of the world. But
we've said it so much, like we felt all along our musical journey and public musical journey that we've been extremely authentic and genuine to who we are. But we've also lived a lot of life in the 12 years that we've been a band, and also just people in general. So it's getting real on this record, I think.
Yeah.
That sounds great. We're going to you, Zoe, next, and then we'll go down. So Zoe first.
Hi, Zoe from the Writers Group. In the past, you've taken some time away from each other to pursue kind of solo projects, and you've always come back together. How important is that time to explore on your own? How crucial is that to the success of the band?
And I can say, for myself, I mean, one of the main reasons we took some time off was we were just together all the time for a good 8-9 years. I think we just naturally needed to get off the hamster wheel for a bit. And I can say that it made me appreciate how much I need this band. There's so many times on stage when I was by myself, I was like, oh gosh, not having Dave right here and Hillary right here to do this part. It was, it felt really like it wasn't to the same caliber of a project, but it was fun to do. It pushed myself, and honestly, I think too, there were some songs on the solo project that really kind of were a little more honest, that made me say, okay, when I come, back in with this group here and we start writing for these next records, I want to bring a little bit of that in. And then Hillary, for the same respect, with her faith-based record, there's a couple songs on this record that are just so moving in a spiritual way that I think, you brought that in there too from that.
Yeah, I think we started out as a creative writing team, and as songwriters, and then quickly became a band and started playing shows and have never looked back. But we're songwriters and artists first, and we've always said there's ever anything the three of us want to pursue individually, we give the blessing, because it's one of those things to where if you're going to come back a better version of yourself, whether it's successes, fail, whatever, just experiences, it's more important, I think, for us long term to be true to who we are for ourselves and for each other. And so I think that's what that was about. And we did. We came back so appreciative and grateful for the career that we've been able to build, and the fans, and just a deeper sense of gratitude than I think we would have ever before.
So we could talk all night, but you've got a few other things to do. So 2 more questions. Show them.
Hi, I'm Shona from the BBC. This is a question from Hillary, and congratulations on the birth of the twins. Last time we saw you, you were heavily pregnant.
Yes.
And that was very impressive.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
I just wondered, you're one of the bands that's really transcended into pop, and I wondered what the word country music means to you today.
For me personally, country music is stories, real stories that are sung and performed in a way that, for me, growing up as a fan, I mean, the best example that I have right off the top of my head is Keith Urban and his song, oh my gosh, take your records, take your freedom.
You'll think of me.
You'll think of me. And I remember sitting in my room listening to that song over and over and over. I had the biggest crush on this guy who didn't like me back. And it just expressed how I felt. He was leaving for college. And it expressed how I felt in a much better way, in a more, like, than I ever could have expressed it in my own words. And I think that's what country music is. It's songs, whether they're about having a good time with your friends or your deepest, most longing heartbreak. They express how you feel when you can't. And that's really what it is to me.
Thank you.
Hi, Tommy from UK Country News. So excited we all are to watch you tonight. Thank you so much for being C2C. When you stand there on stage and you look out at the British audience, is there anything that you're particularly excited about that you get from a British audience that perhaps you maybe don't experience in the US or elsewhere?
It's so great. I mean, it's so much fun being here. I mean, the reaction, I just feel like you have them in the palm of your hand. You know, I feel like a lot of times in the States, we're fighting to keep their attention, make sure everybody's, you know, staying at a level of engagement. But here, I feel like we can go on a journey, walk through a 5-minute song like Hello World and have people go along with you. So truly, I mean, when people talk about what's your favorite place to play in the world, I mean, we start with London, Sydney, you know, LA. So, I mean, this is top 1 or 2 places in the world that we get to play. I mean, truly, we're not just blowing smoke. This is a real honor to be here. And for that reason, we feel like we can do what we want to do, and the fans go along with you on that journey. So it's really a pleasure to be here. I mean, it's so much fun to be in this room. This is our probably 3rd or 4th time doing this room, and it's my favorite in the world.
Well, 3 thank yous from all of us. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for digging deep and thinking of a special set list tonight, of some of them more unusual. And especially thank you for introducing tonight a song or 2 that's new.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely fantastic. And thanks for coming here now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lady Antebellum.